from the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Small business owners all across central Indiana are looking for ways to stay open as the pandemic continues. Thanks for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Nicole Griffin. With the holiday shopping season underway, many Hoosiers are turning to online shopping to stay safe during the pandemic. Tonight, our Troy Washington is showing us how one local community is making an innovative change. It's a model other communities may soon follow.
Local businesses aren't waiting around for the pandemic to end. In fact, some places are thinking ahead.
Certainly got other Chamber of Commerces and cities locally that have expressed interest in this.
Jason FORDHAM is the man behind launching Zionville's new contactless commerce site.
Perfect. The company that I founded goes back a couple years, and from that time period, we have been looking for how can we adapt brick and mortar retail for really what's been demanded even before the pandemic.
He says the pandemic may have pushed things along, but moving local commerce online has been in the works.
I think there's an opportunity for us to be able to create something that not only provides value now amidst a pandemic, but also into the future, because even once we get past this, you still have, as a small business, to compete with Amazons, with Walmarts, all these other marketplaces.
Here's how it works. Shoppers, especially those looking for holiday deals, can go to the Chamber's website where they are able to type in exactly what they're looking for in the search bar, and it shows them which local stores can help.
If we can make commerce that is local commerce easier, more people are going to use it.
And this way of connecting local businesses can catch on since business owners are looking for ways to keep business booming.
March and April were hard. You know, it was a lot of unknown. It was a lot of what decisions do I make?
The end goal remains the same, to find new ways to support local.
People are doing what's needed in order to keep their businesses going. And this year, we are trying to do as a chamber what's necessary to support those businesses' needs to make sure that they are around after this is all over. And because almost 70% of every dollar that comes into a small business stays local.
Working for you, Troy Washington, WRTV.
Troy, thank you. And the site is growing every day as more and more vendors participate. Right now, there are about 15 businesses on the site, and you can find everything from a fashion boutique to an olive oil shop. Each one are local businesses in Zionsville. Tomorrow, we're expecting to get new information about the future of the restaurant and hospitality industry in Indiana. In September, the Restaurant and Lodging Association released data that said 41% of restaurants did not expect to survive the next 6 months. December is normally a busy month for restaurants with holiday parties and office catering, but the association's president says since the start of November, sales and foot traffic are down at restaurants, and it's only getting worse. That is why the association is launching a new campaign called Dine Safe December. It's a reminder of everything restaurants are doing as they are committed to the Hoosier Hospitality Promise. That includes spacing out tables 6 feet, employees wearing masks, and passing a health check prior to each shift.
We've removed seating, we removed tables, we've done those things. We can't see people at bar tops in some communities, which matters because of those additional seats. People are not going out late in the evenings. We don't see that type of business. We also see zero convention business. We see zero sports business, and also central business districts throughout the entire state of Indiana, and frankly, throughout the entire country and world, are been absolutely decimated because people are not going to their offices. So we don't see that typical business travel. We don't see that typical business dinner, lunch, breakfast, or anything of that matter.
At visitindiana.com/promise, you can find all of the businesses committed to the Hoosier Hospitality Promise. The association's new campaign really hopes to encourage people to find ways to support local restaurants by allowing them to do the holiday cooking this month. Here are the very latest numbers tonight from the State Health Department. An additional 6,678 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with COVID-19. 34 more Hoosiers have died with COVID-19, bringing the total number of deaths to 5,944. Since March, more than 381,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus. More than 4.5 million tests have been administered in Indiana. The president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, is the latest of the Trump's inner circle to test positive for the coronavirus. Giuliani checked himself into the hospital. This as more than 282,000 Americans have died from COVID-19. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
ABC News getting an inside look at a field hospital in Worcester, Massachusetts. With COVID cases surging, officials warning new shutdown measures may be put in place.
I mean, the next step is shutting everything down. That's the next step.
California already at that point with shrinking ICU capacities and a record daily total of more than 30,000 new cases. Over 33 million people across the state from Los Angeles to the Bay Area facing stay-at-home orders.
It's getting to be too much. So I've learned, how to adapt and stay safe, and that's pretty much it.
The U.S. averaging 186,000 new cases each day. The virus claiming nearly 15,000 lives in the last week. That's roughly 88 American deaths per hour. Families grieving the loss of loved ones like Jan Brent, a beloved mother and teacher in Illinois, with this urgent message.
It's going to take us all working together on this and doing everything we can as individuals to protect those around us and protect ourselves and our families.
Officials warning things will only get worse if people don't take precautions.
We're worried about people and the behaviors coming up with Christmas. We want to make sure everyone's loved ones are there next Christmas.
Meantime, states are getting ready to start distributing vaccines with emergency FDA approval expected for Pfizer any day now.
I do expect that this week we're going to see the Pfizer vaccine get authorized for use in the United States.
In Phoenix, hospital workers now running through practice sessions for getting the vaccine from cold storage to patients in their cars.
Can I have you please roll up your sleeve?
Pfizer's vaccine has already been approved in the UK. Hospitals there are now stocking up, with immunizations set to begin on Tuesday. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Families who have children with life-threatening conditions have essentially been in quarantine since the pandemic began, but today some of those families had a chance to get out of the house and enjoy a special holiday event. The Indiana chapter of A Kid Again allowed around 350 people from at-risk families visit Conner Prairie Walking Lights display. The plans for the event were approved by the health department. Everyone was required to wear a mask, flow into the event just one way. There was also timed entry and social distancing. We talked to one kid who says this is a good way for everyone to get their minds off what's happening with the pandemic and enjoy some time outside.
So far it's been really cool. I just got done talking to Santa, and next I'm probably gonna go look at the Christmas lights. This is the first time I've been out of the house since March and been able to do anything other than school.
The Indiana Pacers and Jack's Pacific partnered for the 11th straight year with A Kid Again to provide 3,400 toys. Each kid at tonight's event got to take one home. Now to your forecast tonight. Meteorologist Kyle Mounts is standing by. And Kyle, for all those families out there tonight at Conner Prairie, they really had to bundle up because it's pretty chilly outside.
Yeah, but had some nice weather nonetheless as we've kept it dry out there. It was cloudy, it was chilly earlier today, and temperatures right now sitting in the lower 30s. So we haven't fallen too far from our afternoon high of 34. It does feel a little bit colder though. 24 the wind chill with that north wind between 5 and 10 miles per hour. Temperatures starting to dip down into the 20s now in Tipton, also Richmond at 29, while it's 31 for you in the Martinsville area. Big picture shows we still have a lot of cloud cover. There are a few flurries up across Lake Michigan. We might see a couple of those. That's really about it. We'll just stick with the clouds tomorrow morning and temperatures around 30 degrees. We've got a warming trend. We'll talk about that coming up in your 7-day planning forecast.
Kyle, thank you. A Whitestown homeowner is alive tonight thanks to some good Samaritans who happened to be passing by. The Samaritans spotted flames coming from the house on Dusty Sands Road late last night. They managed to pull the homeowner from inside that burning home. The homeowner suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns. The Samaritans were checked out and released there at the scene. Donald Trump keeps stoking the claims of election fraud, but is it helping or hurting GOP candidates in 2 crucial Senate races? The very latest coming up next. With less than 45 days until Inauguration Day, President-elect Joe Biden is spending the weekend working on his transition as President Trump campaigned in Georgia for two Republican senators who are in tight runoff races. While there, Trump repeated his baseless claims of a stolen election. ABC News' Faith Abube has the very latest details.
Even though the numbers are in, showing Joe Biden defeated President Trump by more than 6 million votes, the president is continuing to spread conspiracy theories about a rigged election.
We've never lost an election. We're winning this election. And when you look at all of the corruption and all of the problems having to do with this election, all I can do is campaign, and then I wait for the numbers.
Saturday night, he took to the stage in Georgia, speaking to a mostly maskless crowd to rally support for two Republican senators. Instead, he spent most of his time pushing unfounded claims about widespread voter fraud.
It's rigged. It's a fixed deal.
Even after a hand recount in the state showed yet again, Biden has in fact won.
We've never found systemic fraud, not enough to overturn the election. We have over 250 cases right now.
Trump did call up Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue, the two Republican incumbents fighting for their seats in tight runoff races against Democratic challengers Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff. But their brief remarks were interrupted by chants of fight for Trump.
I want to say something personal to President Trump. Hey, guys, I want to say something for President Trump personally. Guys.
With the voter registration deadline less than 24 hours away, organizers were fanning out across the state.
Excuse me, are you both registered to vote?
Yes, ma'am.
The two Senate runoffs will decide the balance of power in the U.S. Senate for the next 2 years. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
Faith, thank you. In an interview this morning with ABC News, Indiana Senator Mike Braun is among those Republicans still refusing to acknowledge a Biden win. Today on ABC's This Week, Braun insisted the legal process of the election needs to continue playing out. He then brought up what he called an example of alleged suspicious activity in Georgia during the election. That led to a tense exchange with host George Stephanopoulos.
The video where after a counting place closed, you see boxes of ballots coming out from underneath the table. I know that's kind of a graphic example, but
well, I have to stop you right there. No, that it wasn't mentioned because it didn't show anything improper. He's spoken to that this week. That was exactly the proper process for counting the ballots. There wasn't anything wrong shown in that video at all. So you're just throwing out a claim out there that doesn't prove what you're saying.
I think unless you scrutinize something like that further, or what about like
it was scrutinized,
where there were a couple 100,000 absentee ballots that got cast without a request for it. All I can tell you is if you don't at least give perfunctory kind of investigation into it, whether it's December 14th and what happens beyond, you're going to have a good part of the country. It's over 50% that view that something is amiss, and that's going to carry forward in terms of undermining a democracy. I just don't think that if you don't pursue it, overturn every stone, this is going to linger into the future, and it's going to be to the disadvantage of whoever is there trying to run the country.
Stephanopoulos pointed out to Braun at least 38 of more than 50 lawsuits brought forward by President Trump and his allies have been dismissed by judges. Several government officials have said there is no evidence of widespread fraud, including Trump's own Attorney General, William Barr. Costco is continuing special shopping hours for seniors and other vulnerable groups due to a surge in COVID-19 cases. At most clubs, hours for seniors 60 and older and members with disabilities are 9 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. However, many locations have varying hours, so you should check your location to confirm hours. Costco was one of the first retailers to require masks in its stores. Last month, the retailer updated its policy to no longer make exemptions for maskless shoppers, citing medical conditions. Children under two continue to be exempt from wearing a mask, covering with the updated policy. With many annual art shows and fairs canceled this year due to the pandemic, the Indianapolis Arts Council is hoping people will support local artists this holiday season through their new online marketplace. Right now, their annual winter sale is completely available online. Typically, it's a shoulder-to-shoulder event in person that features faculty members. But this year, they have more than 90 artists from Central Indiana. Each one is able to create their own page within the marketplace, which can be viewed like their own storefront, allowing artists to engage with customers. The Art Center's president hopes this helps artists survive through the pandemic, as many rely on events like the Broad Ripple Arts Fair that was canceled this year.
So we saw a lot of the, older artists in that sector retire. It was just too much for them. Their whole year's income was just vanished. And so they didn't have an outlet. And when you look at that, that's where, having a high focus on innovation, during this pandemic, on doing things, not in a way to replicate or substitute, but just innovating and developing new ways and new models and new thinking, was how can we give them, access to audiences? And really it was to build this foundational structure of a marketplace.
The winter art sale is open now at artcentermarket.com. It will close this Thursday, December 10th at 6 p.m. Kyle.
And if you've still got some shopping to do, we've got fairly quiet weather that's going to be coming our way for much of the week ahead. You can see out there tonight, we've got nice quiet conditions. We still have that cloud cover, though, in place. Our temperature downtown, 31 degrees. You're at 29 already, though, in the Bloomington area, 30 in Kokomo and Shelbyville at 33. Winds, they're fairly light out there, generally less than 10 miles per hour. The exception in the Columbus area, but it's out of that northerly direction, so that is going to keep temperatures on the cooler side here as we go into the start of the work and school week. Tonight down to around 26. Again, we're going to keep the clouds. They're not really going anywhere, and may see a couple of flurries, but it has been a dry start to the month of December. We're still waiting on our first snowflakes or raindrops of the month here, and that puts us more than a half-inch below average for the month of December. Looks like it's going to be a little while before we get any organized wet weather in here. In fact, as we look at TrueCast, we jump ahead all the way to Friday evening. You can see some rain off to the west, and then that will be sliding our way here as we go Friday night and into Saturday. Right now, it looks like primarily warm enough that it's going to be rain force. If we see any snow on the backside of that, doesn't look like it'll be a big deal. Most of that will be off to the north. But as we go into tomorrow, no precipitation, not going to need an umbrella or anything like that. Hopefully, we'll need those sunglasses again, as we'll see a little more sunshine working into the forecast here. Temperatures, though, remaining cool, only in the 30s in many spots. As we look at TrueCast, there are those clouds, maybe a flurry or two here as we go through the morning hours, and then into the evening. That's where we start to see those clouds clearing out a little bit, but I think they will be kind of pesky at least the first half of the day. Your high temperature, 40 degrees in Columbus and Lafayette. Notice a little bit cooler as we work our way to the east. Richmond only around 36 for that high temperature, but things are going to be warming up here as we get toward Wednesday. They jump to around 50 for that afternoon high, and we'll see those highs staying in the 50s right through the end of the week. Somebody planning forecast as we put it all together for you, and there's that mild stretch coming our way. High of 43 on Tuesday, then we're in the 50s the rest of the week. That chance for rain comes in here late Friday and Saturday. That brings in the colder air. Highs are back in the 30s by Sunday, Nicole.
All right, Kyle, looks good. Thank you so much. In a game full of big plays, it came down to a big mistake that led the Colts to come away with the win today. We'll show you how it all worked up to that surprising finish when the news at 11 continues.
The first half between the Colts and Texans featured multiple servings of offense. Colts got the first score of the game, T.Y. Hilton finding the end zone for the second straight Sunday. He had 100 receiving yards in the first half. Houston came back with the next 10 points. Colts would retake the lead after that. Nyheim Hines gets into the end zone in the final minute of the opening quarter, his third touchdown of the season. Later, Phillip Rivers with the short pass to Jonathan Taylor. He had only one touch in the game prior to this, but would go untouched to the end zone to give the Colts a 21-10 lead. The teams combined for 502 yards of offense in the first half. Indy was up 24-20 at the break.
We got a lot of guys in our running back room that can make plays, whether it's through the air or on the ground and pass protection. It doesn't matter. So my biggest thing was whenever my number was called, I had to make sure that I was executing, because I know the team is counting on me and I know the other guys in the running back room are counting on me.
Defenses dominated after that. The Colts got the game's first takeaway late in the third quarter. Kenny Moore simply taking the ball away from Brandon Cooks. A scoreless third quarter left the Colts leading by 4 to start the fourth. Taking a big chance to make it a 2-score game. 4th down and 1, Taylor gets stuffed in the middle of the line. Colts pass up some sure points, but leave the Texans buried deep.
A lot of confidence in that call, the situation. We had momentum. We had a good drive going. My gut feeling and our confidence in our offense to pick up the play. There was multiple options on the play.
Just a few plays later, Justin Houston comes up big for the D, takes down Deshaun Watson for the safety, extending Indy's lead to 6. But the Colts defense would have to get it done one more time. They get some help with a bad snap to Watson under 90 seconds to go. Grover Stewart dives in, keeps the ball loose. Anthony Walker recovers, and that seals the win. Hold your breath all the way to the end. The Colts escape with a 26-20 victory after a most improbable shutout in the second half.
You got to believe me. You got to play to 0-0 on the clock. You never know what can happen. I've been around this game so long. I saw so many plays that happened at the last second, so many crazy plays. So you always got to believe and you always got to continue to play to 0-0 on the clock.
The only thing we had in our mind was we got to stop them. We can't let them score. It's too late in the game. And we got to show them like why we one of the top defense.
Great play by our defense, being strong, hanging in there. They're moving the ball. Deshaun's a great quarterback. Fought hard all game. Their team fought hard all game, but we knew that we had enough to make a game-winning stand, and we were able to come up with that.
Obviously, the defense came up with a big turnover, a big safety. Obviously, the big turnover at the end to win the game. So, special teams had some huge plays come over and get called back. But, I don't know. I mean, I think we found out we can win anyway. I mean, we can win anyway. We found plenty of ways to win. We're going to hang in there and stick together no matter what.
The Colts got some help from Cleveland on Sunday. The Browns taking down the Titans in a big way. So the Colts and Tennessee are now tied for the AFC South lead. Titans hold a tiebreaker at the moment, but both teams have 8 wins with 4 games remaining. The Colts play in Las Vegas against the Raiders next Sunday. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Census officials have discovered data issues which could delay the completion of the census. That's according to a new set of internal census documents shared this week by House Democrats. The issues are said to include, quote, high complexity problems that could lead to a miscount. This could push back a key tally until February after Joe Biden is sworn in as president. That delay would block the Trump administration's effort to exclude undocumented immigrants when dividing seats in the House of Representatives. Multiple federal courts have blocked the policy, and the Supreme Court heard arguments on the matter on Monday. Tonight, dozens of struggling local families are getting help for the holidays. Today, Jewish Family Services held its Adopt a Family event as part of their annual Community Day. Usually, members join teams and shop around town for families on their list, but due to the pandemic, most of the purchases were made online. And today, those purchases were brought to the Jewish Federation campus. From there, the items will be distributed to local families.
We run through Jewish Family Service, we run a food pantry that's open to the entire community year-round that has food and household supplies. But specifically during this time of year, during Hanukkah, we found that there were many Jewish families in need, and there was no service that was able to help them because the other programs were geared towards Christmas. So that's how Adopt a Family began as an effort in the Jewish community.
The Adopt a Family program has been around for about 15 years. Donors supply everything from household items to clothing to toys. They helped more than 65 households this year. Good to see. Kyle.
It is. In our forecast tomorrow, it'll be a little better as we head into the afternoon. We'll see the return of a bit of sunshine, but still cool. Temperatures in the upper 30s there. Then we really start to warm things up. 50 by Wednesday afternoon. It looks like we're going to stay dry here until late Friday into Saturday with some rain.
All right, Kyle, thank you. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. Good Morning Indiana starts at 4:30. Have a great night.